Hello, Tracy here. I just wanted to take a second to share with you a simple dynamic warm-up that I like to do before all of my workouts, and it's something that I have my personal training clients do with me during our sessions together. And the reason that I wanted to share this with you is because obviously with circumstances being what they are, there is now a very high demand for some home exercise programming, which is great because we've got all kinds of tools to share that kind of content with one another. So to that end, I wanted to share a little bit of content with you. Regardless of the nature of your home workouts, what's of most importance is making sure that however you're moving safely. And so one great way to better ensure your safety as you're embarking on your exercise journey is to simply make sure that you're properly warmed up before you get started with whatever you're doing. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. So to that end, here we go. So I always like to begin with just a standing glute stretch. So that involves slowly drawing the knee up towards the chest, alternating sides, nice and slow. And I'll usually make it a point to try to move slowly through this movement. For starters, it makes it easier to actually feel the stretch, and secondarily, it requires a little more mindfulness just by virtue of making it a little more challenging to keep your balance. So the slower you go, the more challenging it is to stand on one leg. So I'll normally do maybe 10 reps, nice and slow, on each side, and then following that, I'll just take it into some gentle instep taps. So the idea here is that we're simply opening up those hips, finding a little more range of motion. And you might find that your hips are particularly tight, so maybe your foot doesn't come up quite so high. It's not necessarily about getting the most range of motion, it's just kind of working with the range that you've got. So here I'll usually do, again, 10 taps on each side, nice and slow, and then following that, maybe a couple of just like larger hip circles, just to get a little more range. And so obviously I'm consolidating this for videoing purposes, but once you cycle through those opening movements, from there I usually like to take it into a forward lunge with a twist. So make sure you can see me. Chest is up nice and tall, arms are extended, hands at chest height. You're going to just take a nice long step forward, drop that knee towards the floor at a right angle, rotate your chest in the direction of the leg that's in front, back to center, and then back to standing to do it again on the other side. So you want to make sure that that front knee is stacked above your ankle. Hips stay nice and square. There's no movement from the waist down once you hit your lunge. You're just rotating from the belly button up. And in terms of those, I'll usually do probably 8 to 10 reps on each side. If you find that the lunge position doesn't feel good in your joints, because some folks can find it uncomfortable for the knees, you can very easily modify that with some squats, either opting to keep both feet on the floor like so, or if you want to incorporate that same rotational movement, you can draw your knee up towards your chest and just rotate your chest in the direction of the lifted leg. So whatever feels comfortable for your body. And then following that, I like to take it into some hamstring stretches. So bringing those arms up overhead, you're just going to reach opposite hand toward opposite toe. And if it's more comfortable for you, you can keep a little bit of a bend in the knee. If you find that you can't quite reach your toes, that's totally okay. You're just reaching in the direction of them, whatever feels good for you. And just a nice little small exhale on the reach, keeping your chest up nice and tall. And then if you find that even that movement is not feeling good for you, you can also modify that challenge by simply stepping one foot forward, heel to the floor, and then just hinging forward to the point where you feel a little bit of a stretch up the back of the leg, linger for a second or two, come back up to standing and do the same thing on the other side. So that's a little less vigorous of an option if the hamstring swings don't feel good for you. Then following that, I like to take it into some lateral lunges. So option one, you can widen your stance and simply shift your weight from side to side, like so. You want to make sure that you're pushing your hips back and that that bent knee is staying stacked above the respective ankle. Option two, you can bring your feet together. This is what I like to do. 2 lunges, back up to standing, other side, 2 lunges, back up to standing. And I'll usually do 6 to 8 reps in each direction just to continue to warm up those legs and continue to open up those hips, which again, many of us have pretty tight hips. So this is a good one to find a little more mobility there. So once you've cycled through your 6 to 8 reps on each side, you by that point might be feeling a little bit of a slight burn in those quads. So it's a good opportunity for a little standing quad stretch. So just drawing that heel up towards your bottom, holding for a second or two, and then switching to the other side. So I only linger for a second or two just to feel the slight pull. And again, rep count is whatever's comfortable for you. If you find that you're not able to reach your foot and bring it behind your bottom, which not everyone can, you can always just shake it out with some standing ham curls if that feels better to you. So same motion, but maybe a little more navigable. And then lastly, I like to take it into a walkout plank with a twist. So starting and standing, you're gonna bring a nice deep breath up, hands come overhead, soften your knees, walk your hands forward into a plank, and then from here, you're just gonna step one foot up, lift the hand that's closest to it, hold for a second or two, walk that foot back, same thing other side. And then once you've done one rep on each side, just walk your hands back up towards your feet to do it again. And these I'll usually do 5 sets. If you're feeling super adventurous, you can add a push-up before you walk your foot forward, whatever feels good for you. The idea is that we're continuing to open up those hips, but now get that upper body a little more into the mix in terms of our warm-up. So, following that, once you've cycled through your 4 to 5 reps on each side, you can do a couple of just shoulder rolls if that feels good. Take it forward, take it back. You can do some arm circles, maybe some crisscross to open up that chest, whatever feels good for you. And all of that, depending on how swiftly you're moving through the exercises, can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And I think it's just a great way to get your body moving in all 3 planes of motion. So forward and back, side to side, and a little bit of rotation as well. And yeah, even if it's on a day when you're not particularly feeling like, cycling through a workout, you can always just run through that sequence just to wake up your body and prepare for whatever day you have ahead of you, no matter how much movement is actually involved. So anyway, that's just a little something that I do before my workouts. I find it quite useful, and maybe you will too. So let me know.